Hello and welcome to episode 139 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It is James and Jack here with you this week. Yes, we've picked him back up from the creche and Jack has returned to the Talking Wednesday podcast. And I'm not talking about his age there, I'm talking about his mental age. Hello, Jack. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. I mean, I've not been on. I'm still here. I still exist. I've basically just been working a retail job, and a retail job has been a retail job about said shifts that I've been doing, which has then meant that I was working the entire time that either Twitter needed to be done or an episode needed to be done. And despite me saying, please, can I have these specific time slots off? They were like, no, you'll be in when we tell you that you're going to be in. So that's been wonderful. But finally, I've got 2 days off. And so here I am on the time of recording.
Is it one of those jobs where you can go like 7 to 10 days on or just 13 days on in some situations and then you have your days off?
If they need it, yes. Yes, basically. Yes.
I remember doing hotel work and there was sometimes the way, because you're meant to obviously have 2 days off a week, but the way they can work it is sometimes they'd stack it at some point. And if it came at, I can't remember exactly when it was, but if it came at a certain point, you would then be on for 13 days. And it was not fun.
That's effectively what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you do late earlies, which I'm not sure are fully like legal, to be honest.
They're not. They're not. They're definitely not.
It's like I'd finish at 11 and then I'd be back on for 6-ish. I think it was half 6 or something.
Yeah. The earliest you should have been on was 11 in the morning. There has to be a 12-hour gap between the end of the previous shift and the start of the next one. So
some places get away with weird things, don't they?
Yeah.
But there we go. That was ancient history. I couldn't do it again. Genuinely, I would be unemployed if I had to go back into that, because I think you all have the patience of the saints, the people that stick out in that sort of thing. The amount of people I had to deal with that I'm just like, you are being ridiculous, you know. But there we go.
I mean, I'm only actually doing it so that I can use the wage I get to buy like content creation related items that may be a bit pricey. And then I'm getting out and focusing on that sort of stuff again.
And maybe one day you'll actually stick to a schedule,
yes,
Jack.
Yes, I know. I posted a meme the other day on X, not a certain website starting with that, but the now formed X that used to be Twitter, and it was the Skyrim guard, and I just put my logo over it, and I said, I used to be a streamer like you until I took an arrow to the schedule. And a few people found that funny. Schedule.
I'm just starting making you think about that word now, haven't I?
Yes. Until I took. Anyway, there we go. And a few people found it funny.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you,
Jack.
Thank you, James.
Wembley seems a long time ago now, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. There's been so much. In such a short space of time. But also, Phil Starr. I haven't forgotten. Look, the light is on just for you. There you go.
He's gotten over it. I think he's gotten over it.
Look, I'm a big fan of dragging on jokes until well past the sell-by date or the funny buy date or something. So there we go. I'm doing it again. Anyway, yes. Here we go.
Well, other than that and everything, you know, your work and all of that, how's your week been in general?
It's been good because I got beaming feedback for my voice work that I'm doing on a certain project that's coming out soon. Or hopefully
you will have to
by the
talk
end of the
about
year.
that yet.
I can basically say that I'm in it, but I can't say anything else.
Amazing.
Yes.
Cool.
Good old NDA. I can't actually talk about it in any more depth than that until it comes out. So.
Do you know when it's like one of my favourite like projects that I could possibly be in, and you went, oh yeah, I'll just get you some more information on it, and then just didn't, and then just like me going, oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
He's like, he announces he's casting something, and I go, oh, cheers, mate. I see how this friendship works. He's one of them. Let me know if you hear of any opportunities. Yeah, I'll do that for you, Jack. I will do that, right? There We
It was
are.
an open casting call. I thought you were If you were subscribed to their YouTube channel, you would have seen the open casting call.
Do we not
thing.
forget that my
there we go.
my motto is "I'm always busy, mate." I didn't even know
true.
they were. I knew they were going to be casting eventually, but when I was
Yes.
looking at the project, I didn't realize how far down the line it was going to be. But it's all right. I'm not bitter. That's why I've not been on the
No,
podcast
not
in
at
a
all.
month.
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
It's why you shelved me for so long until you could get over it.
And now I've stopped crying. No, I actually think it's gonna be fun. I just hope it doesn't get interrupted because a lot of them can. Those projects, in terms of depends how supported they are.
It genuinely got interrupted by Starfield coming out because all the hype would have been around that, and it kind of unalived the hype around this particular project. Notice how I said unalived, because I don't want you to get demonetized in the first.
No, I appreciate that. You know the
whereas
systems.
there's Jake who just comes straight out with it immediately. Oh, we've K-worded the the whatever it is within like 2 minutes. It's Anyway,
it is Jake's birthday today,
yes.
which is why he's not here.
Time
So
of
technically,
recording.
I didn't actually want to bring Jet back in either. It was a necessity.
Well, here I am again, the person that nobody was asking for. Here I am again.
No, it's good to have you back, mate. It's good to
Thank
chat
you.
to you because, to
Thank
be
you.
honest, we've not really had time to speak either.
Yeah.
So that's why it's just getting all the banter out of the way
Absolutely.
first, I think.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of my week has been all right, thank you.
I was
tell you
about
what is
to
weird,
ask that,
though.
but you got there
I know,
first.
it's fine. I'm only joking. One weird change I've made in my life over the past few months is I don't really have caffeine.
Oh.
So moving to caffeine-free drinks. And they're not really different. So I don't know why we willingly take all this caffeine on. There you go. That's my 2 cents today.
Nice.
You know, if you drink like zero drinks,
Oh,
they might
yeah.
sweeten slightly differently. There's a slightly
Yeah.
different taste, but there's not really that much of a difference. So I don't know why we have so much caffeine all the time. Apart from I miss the caffeine that helps keep you awake.
Yeah.
There's caffeine in what you're drinking right now.
No, I've got zero caffeine. Zero.
I've
I've been
you've
doing
got
it
as
for a
well.
while. Yeah. I know. I started getting a bit of like kidney pain a while ago,
Dear
and
God.
I was like, oh, I'll just go to the doctor and ask them about it. And they said, are you drinking a lot of caffeinated drinks? And I said yes. And they said, well, that's putting your kidneys into like overdrive all the time. So
Yeah.
you know, just get rid of caffeine for a while, you'll be fine. So that's what I'm doing again at the moment. So,
It's not that it is quite annoying actually, because you realize
Yeah.
how hard that is when you go out. So like I have to make certain exceptions in certain places, like, but I can do. It's easier
yeah.
to do that and then like be able to sort of still manage it. I think it's like also it's like if you're cutting drink as well, isn't it? You can then just like you can either not drink or you can moderate your drink.
Yeah.
A little bit easier. It's just one of them things. But yeah, that's a really boring fact for everyone. But
Nice.
I did notice how many things have it in. I was like, oh, just drink Iron Brew or something. That's got loads of it. I love Iron Brew. Everything that's basically from the Coca-Cola company is naturally just got caffeine in it. All the sugars, all the non-sugars. And then the only thing you can really drink is Fanta. So there you go. Or water, but I've not reached that phase where I'm only going to drink water. I drink the amount of water I need to, but life is too short.
Life's too short
for
just hydration. You need hydration with spice or flavor. You know, it's
exactly. But we are recording this podcast later than we usually are in the day, which does mean I've just had some lunch and therefore still have my cup of soft drink. Hence, I brought the conversation up. But yes,
Nice.
Since we've last spoken, Sheffield Wednesday were abysmal multiple times. I think you were last joined when... Have you been on the podcast since Zisco has been manager?
That's an excellent question. I can't remember.
I don't know if
If
you
any
have.
of you listeners can remember, leave it in the YouTube comments about when I was last on. There you go. That's the
But
fun.
yeah,
Ooh,
so he came and
interaction.
went.
Ooh, helping
What
the
did you
algorithm.
think? Okay, let's
yes.
catch up with your take on that. What was your What was your think? What was your think? What was your
what was
thoughts?
my think?
What were your thoughts, Jack, on the whole Zisco saga?
My thoughts. Well, I thought it was an absolute show. Yes, I censored it. Don't you worry.
Yes,
Don't you
I
worry.
heard
The
it.
algorithm gods will not take this video down.
I mean, you've already done one earlier, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to clip out. Or not, but
no, don't you worry. It was before we started doing the podcast.
Anyway. No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
No, it's all right. I've marked it. I'll try and find it.
Okay.
Carry on.
Anyway, I just thought at the outset, I thought this looks promising. You know, he seems to have a lot of ideas and whatnot. But as time progressed, it seemed to sort of say to me that he didn't do his due diligence on how we got promoted, on what came before, on what the team, how the team could play. He just wanted to brute force his own vision and rip up the old vision rather than work to the strengths of the squad and work to the strengths of the players he brought in, because and even then, a couple of them I don't even think they're sodding footballers, quite frankly, with how they performed.
I don't think you could probably even make a proper judgment on them under that management.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as well, towards the end, the last few games, it seemed as though the players were just trying to play him out of the job. It seemed like the players just did not want to play for him anymore, and that's arguably could be why we didn't have all that great performances. And then obviously Tomo goes back to what he knows because of the players that have been here for more than just this summer window, and we seem to have a lot of improvement, and a lot of people actually thought, including myself, and I will gladly say that I was wrong about a few of these players, that our squad from the promotion season wouldn't hold up in the championship.
Reece James.
Yes.
What was that? I remember that podcast.
I don't know.
You know when somebody really sad on Twitter bookmarks something? I did that in my brain during
you bookmarked when I was like, Reece James, I don't know about him. Yeah. And it seems like they actually can hold up in the championship against quite a decent opposition.
You were writing him off because he's like 30 or something. You were like,
I was writing him off because it was basically like, oh, well, he's played for several clubs that have got promoted out of League One before, and he's almost immediately been transferred over to another League One club that's wanted to get promotion. And clearly he's doing very well for us. Well, I say that in the one game that he's properly played.
He's doing better than the other player.
Than the other,
in what we're the ones who've seen him, yeah.
And the other player that's been playing in that position so far. And I just think overall it was just a one of those appointments when you just wish that you could forget it. It was basically another Tony Pulis, in my opinion.
Yes.
Of why the hell did we get them as the manager? What was the point? And I understand, actually, probably why we didn't get Danny Röhl to begin with, because of how, German national team contracts work. Because even though at the time... anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But to me, it feels like we should have got Röhl to begin with. And then I don't think... I keep trying... I want to pronounce it in the German proper way. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep saying...
Just say Röhl.
It feels dirty and horrible to say it in the English. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because.
But you just reminded me of Derek Ray.
What? Why?
You know, on FIFA commentary.
Yes, yeah.
He's like Kevin De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne.
And he's like, and Bruno Fernandes and stuff like that. And you just. Are you just listening, going?
Yeah. Why are you saying?
I know that's probably the way you're meant to say it, but why does he say it like that?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's legendary because you actually watch him. I watched him actually commentate an actual game, and I don't think I'd ever heard him do that over FIFA. And it was great because he talks like that, which makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
The immersion levels are immense. Yeah, but when. I just want to be respectful and say it how the Germans probably say it. I don't know. But it just sort of feels to me like we should have had Röhl to begin with. You know, why did we not appoint him?
And I think that was potentially a thing that we wanted. We can move on to that now. So obviously we've We've had Röhl come in. We don't know too much about the situation in terms of who's bringing in staff-wise. There is some rumours. Give me the two names. So there's the sports scientist.
There is the sports... it's the sports psychologist. So basically, Tom Bates, his version of Tom Bates, who's called Sasha Lentz. And there's also, finally, and this is according to the Star, by the way, just to credit them for the report. And there's also Benjamin Ellersman, who is effectively the replacement, finally, to Dean Hughes, who's the former chief scout of RB Leipzig. And I think there was an American club that he was the chief scout for. And yes, but he's mainly worked for chief scout. Yes, chief scout at RB Leipzig, and he was also working under Ralph Rangnick at Manchester United. Yes.
Who was David Downs to us? Was he our head of recruitment? Or
he was the head of recruitment. He was both. He was basically both. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so that's finally we've got a replacement for him. So I think that's
You said Dean Hughes, and I was like,
he's the one that
David
went to
Downs.
David Downs. Sorry, David Downs. I mean, look, David Downs, the one that went to Blackpool. Yes, his replacement. Sorry, not Dean Hughes.
I did think that's what you meant, but I just wanted to clarify for people.
Yeah. That's who I meant.
Yeah,
I've had a lack of sleep for so many weeks now. It's getting to me.
Right.
Anyway.
I didn't even make the ice gem comment. We had a thing off camera.
Oh God!
It's for the audio listeners.
I look like an ice gem because I'm trying to grow my hair out a bit, and it's.
I think it's going to be fabulous when you grow it out.
Yeah, it's in the awkward phase.
That didn't sound as sincere as I meant it to when I said it.
Yeah, it's just in that really awkward phase where it just always looks terrible in any way that you do it. You know.
Have you got the mustache, by the way, that you were repping on Twitter? Our feed's not great, so I don't know if I can see it. Or have you chickened out and you got rid?
I chickened out and I shaved it all to the same length of stubble. But I will be doing Movember. I absolutely will be doing Movember.
I am debating. I don't want, because I'm not going to do I think for Movember, I might do something for once. But I'm not going to take the whole thing off. Mm-hmm. I think I might end up with like a goatee and a mustache, and I've never done that, and I could look a bit predatory, but we might give it a go. I could look a little bit 70s certain star, you know, but I think I could look like I belong in beige and flares and stuff. But
you really are a hipster, James. Oh my god.
But I just I realised that since I'd grown the beard, I've had it for probably 5-6 years. Obviously not the same one. That kind of goes without saying. And I don't really like having a long beard. I've noticed. I've done that before, but I think if I take the sides off.
You could do the opposite of Movember, and you could shave the mustache off, but keep everything else, and do. And
now you see, the problem is the reason I kind of want to do it this way is the mustache. I remember trying to grow one for the first time. And it's probably better now because I'm older, but like it took ages to come in, like ages. And my facial hair grows quite quick now, but I just remember the mustache was not thick for a long time. But also, I think it would be quite cool to have a twirly mustache.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got the sort of facial hair type where basically if I let my mustache grow, it'll turn into the proper, like, Magnum P.I. Tom Selleck.
You look like an American cop.
American cop stash, you know, the big thick. Yeah. And, yeah, my genetics will give me that, so I'm very happy about that, because I do love a good, thick... girthy mustache, you know.
I think it's great that we'll talk about football again.
Oh yeah, sorry, listeners of footballing interests.
Nah, I've missed this. It's been a while since we've just talked rubbish. But the way we, oh my god, what was I going to say? We need the sports psychology, so sports science, that sort of thing. I thought this. Kind of head
sports
coach
psychologist.
would come in and do this.
Yeah,
that kind of person to come in and actually get into the heads of the players a little bit more and have that mental side of the game is going to be a big thing, especially they needed picking up after the playoffs. They're going to need picking up after this 10-game thing, coming in with a belief. But in terms of the Röhl appointment, what did you think when you heard about that and the way it all went down and the fact that obviously he's going to be the man to take Wednesday forward?
I was absolutely over the moon considering the clubs that he's worked at and the experience that he will have sort of gained from working under the managers that he's worked under. I actually can't believe that we've got him, quite frankly. Bayern, you don't get working for the German national team, for Bayern Munich, for RB Leipzig, and Southampton. Oh no, did he work for RB Leipzig? I can't remember. He himself, Röhl.
Yeah, that's the club he built.
Oh, yes, of course.
With the management.
Yes, of course. With Rangnick, yeah. And to work under the people that he has at such a young age as well, and to get into the German national team coaching setup at such a young age. I mean, even Southampton fans have said that he was effectively the reason that they almost had the Europa League spots a few years ago when they, before it all went to doo-doo and they are where they are now. But
I'm just checking because I don't know. Was it? I'm getting confused.
I think they were
I
think they were 8th for a while in the Premier League a couple of years ago.
No, the Leipzig. I don't know. I don't know if it was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was.
Because wasn't he in Ralph Ragnick's coaching setup there?
I don't know if it was Ragnick at. I don't think it was Ragnick at. Keep going, but I don't. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure it was Ragnick at. I think it was Ragnick at Southampton and not at Leipzig. But carry on.
No, it was Hasselhütten at Southampton. Yeah, Ralph Hasselhütten at Southampton.
It's basically some big names.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. I think the caliber of that he brings is quite ridiculous. I know. I'm sorry to bring his name up, and yes. He's given you your most viewed video ever on your channel until I think probably
not anymore,
the playoffs.
But carry on.
Not anymore. But I have not been this hyped up about a manager coming in since Steve Bruce, because the caliber that he offers is immense. And with our situation and with all the negative press surrounding the chairman that's recently been everywhere, I can't believe we've managed to pull off a managerial signing like this. And I just really hope, please, Mr. Chancery, just let him do his work and not interfere and micromanage, because letting him just get to work with the team that he wants to bring in is exactly how we progress and we get to this Premier League targets that you set for 2017. Finally.
6 years on.
6 years on, here we are. We've been in League One. We have had a promotion under Mr. Chancery, yes, but it was to get back to the Championship. And then that was because he wasn't getting involved too much. He was letting Darren Moore just get to work. And clearly, doing that is how you bring success. Micromanaging and interfering does not get you so much success, as we have seen.
I'll add a bit to that in a second.
Yes.
Leipzig was actually interesting because it was Hasenhüttl. He was the manager. Rangnick was the sporting director.
Yes, yeah.
So they were both there. So it's one of those things where, I knew something in my brain was firing there. In terms of what we were just saying about Chancery, the press conference, he did seem to let him... He didn't go off on any tangents about Carlton Palmer, so that was a plus.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Didn't seem to have an attack at anyone. He kind of did it. He introduced the manager. He actually, if you watch I watched the playback of it, actually, and he introduced him and let him speak. Yeah. And I was like, yes.
That is what we needed the previous time. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, as I said on the last podcast with Jake, it alleviated my fears that he's not gonna just leave the club out to dry. Because the one thing we can say, even though I know there's still a lot of Chancery out there and stuff like that, and to be honest, I'm still not happy. That statement still left a bad taste in my mouth. He hasn't just let the club sink to a point of like he's had his go, and he's got his anger out. But then he's looked at it and gone, I need to look after this club in this regard. And he's done his job as the chairman. And he has got rid of Zisco, made his mistake. Probably not admitted he made the mistake, but your actions when you sack a manager in that situation, it's pretty a big tell. And he's brought in somebody who does look promising. And I actually think this is the better way forward now. The more I think about it, the more I'm excited. In terms of, I do stress though, this season is crucial. We can't go down again.
No, we can't.
And that's why it's going to be a bit of a trial by fire. We can't go down again. And we are not in a great position to not do that. But there is a lot of games to play. I just need the players. We need the players to make sure they've got their heads switched on and just buy into the manager and just do what he says. Don't do that sort of 5 games, 10 games, senior players in the squad go, oh, I'm not sure about this guy. Is it right? Past guy wasn't very good. Chairman's reported this guy's not been... Buy in, do the work.
Yeah.
Because
leave your egos at the door, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. And you'd hope that kind of goes without saying, but we need that approach going forward. We need that heads down, get to work. But I think if he's able to bring some team in, I know he talked about bringing like 3 of his team in, and then one like English one English member of staff or something.
I think
he did talk about that, didn't he?
I think it was 5. I think he said he wants to bring 5 coaches in, plus an experienced English British coach or something. I just wonder who that's going to be. I'm really curious who he would know, like a coach that has worked in those circles and stuff that he would know that is also an experienced British coach. Because clearly he wouldn't bring in just people that he's never really worked with before or has no knowledge of. So I just wonder who that would be. I think that's the question on everybody's minds at the moment. Is more than at the moment, because obviously the transfer window's well and truly over until January. And obviously the chairman's statement suggests we won't really be bringing players in for very much money, etc. If any money at all. I think probably the biggest question is who the heck is he going to fill the backroom with and stuff. And I'm curious myself. If he himself is the caliber of coach that he is, who the heck is he going to be bringing in? Are we going to be thinking, wow, how the hell have we got them in? A bit like when we... do you remember when we got Tony Strudwick in the door? And everyone was thinking, oh my God, how have we managed that? Like, a Premier League mid-table to higher-end table team would probably want him. And they did. Clearly, Arsenal. He's now the head of physio or head of sports science for their academy now, isn't he? So... Like,
I think the thing is with we've got to make sure we don't get carried away as well on the other end.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is 34. He's a young man. He spoke this week about not actually being intimidated by players that are older than him. He's had players that are older than him in sort of like Lewandowski and stuff like that. So, you know, and somebody commented something.
Wow, now he's coaching Sheffield Wednesday. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. He's gone from like Lewandowski to Fletcher up front. But it's I really want Fletcher to come good, by the way. I'm not knocking our own players there. He's still our player at the minute. I think admittedly you say he's not been great because he's not. But none of this team have. There has been some signs from the Zisco era that some of those players might be half decent. Like I think Bernard, for example.
Oh yeah.
I think Valentin looks good. There's hang on. Well, Diaby looked great and then he got injured.
Yeah.
But players to come back through the door. Okay, Jack, do you think we'll now see Marvin Johnson get registered in that last slot, or do you think you'll wait for a free agent?
Yes. He's definitely going to get re-registered. Most definitely. I honestly think it is a crime that he didn't get registered. Why freeze players out like that? This is what I don't understand. Why treat them in such a just, oh, I don't want to play with you anymore, and just drop him. You know in Toy Story 2 when like he just drops Woody in the bin. There. Like he just did that with Marvin Johnson and just cast him adrift for no
and had no good reason for it, did he?
No, it was just I just don't get it. You can't. That's exactly how you lose a dressing room when you treat players like that. Especially when they're an integral part of the original group.
Because I was like, he's not going to. He's like, if he's going to play a winger, surely Marvin Johnson would actually thrive a little bit more because he could play him as a winger and he doesn't have to do the defensive duty.
I think, quite frankly, that whole situation just proves that Zisco didn't do his research ahead of being our manager. He didn't actually see, oh, look how integral he was in many of the important games in the promotion season and even the season before that. How many crosses he was like the wasn't he?
What is
didn't he have
amazing,
the most,
what I love about it
crosses
is
or most assists or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, do you remember like the season before, our fan base were going, "Oh, I'm not sure about this guy. He's not great," and that. And then it carried on. But then as soon as like he got shunned out, all of us went, "Nah, we're not having that,
mate. We're not having this."
Which is just which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, it's he obviously posted on his Instagram story that he put back soon. So
or soon back.
Was it soon back? Was it soon back?
Yeah, soon back. And everyone was like, "Oh, it's a mirror. It's actually back soon, but he's doing a funny reflection thing." Oh, and
yeah, I think he will be it'll be a boost to have those players in there. You need that core. I think it doesn't help that we've had players like Bannon out injured and stuff like that. But I think from what you can probably gather is Bannon's probably been like struggling to play those games, knowing the sporting world has probably been on injections. You know, the stuff what the old football manager, get through this match and then you're out for 10 days sort of thing. He's probably kept doing that sort of thing. And it takes a toll. So he's had that spell out. But I think having those players back, having someone like Johnson, I think it's going to be important to keep recapture some of that spirit we had last season. You saw it. We got rid of the manager and we got a draw. I mean, the Huddersfield game was awful, and it was quite funny. Everybody had started going, "Oh, Darren Moore," and don't get me wrong, still think he shouldn't have got sacked in the situation he did. I'm fully on that boat now. But it's weird. They saw him against Huddersfield and they were like, "Oh, typical Darren Moore performance, that Huddersfield are awful sort of thing." And I was like, "Guys, can we make our mind up, please?"
Yeah,
like we've just been saying since this whole Zisco
on a technicality, he didn't get sacked. They just parted ways.
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
No, he did. It came out. This is why I've changed it.
Yeah,
because
really?
Chansiri said he's letting go of him, but he said mutual. Chansiri's words were he said to Darren Moore, he'll say mutual consent because it looks better on your CV.
Oh. See, this is how out of touch I've been for a little bit because I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. He actually was sacked after getting us up.
But yes, Marvin Johnson would be
Marvin Johnson, yes.
Big addition back in there. But the football's coming back. The international breaks are interesting. I've not really. Did you watch the England? Who did we play?
Australia.
I watched it.
Australia.
That's how forgettable it was. Yeah.
England,
Australia.
We won 1-0. I didn't watch it. To be honest, I don't know what it is, right? I just feel really... at the moment, this is a whole other discussion, but Gareth Southgate, as the England manager and the tactics that he employs for England, I just don't care about England at the moment because it's not exciting to watch. It's boring. It's so boring, and the spectacles that could be shown with the quality of players that are in those England sides, and yet it's literally like watch. You know, when we were saying that Wednesday were winning ugly and really boring, you could hardly watch it because it was so awful to watch, even though we were winning. That's how Gareth Southgate is setting up the England sides, and I just don't get it.
The problem is, and it's talking about calling up his own favourites. Yeah. He's slight tangent for the podcast, but he also brings up like Phillips and Henderson. Henderson is now in the retirement league, and then you've got Phillips who's not playing at Man City.
Yeah.
Apart from Declan Rice, though, we don't really have holding midfielders. So you can't really call up too many others. So if Declan Rice gets injured, you need another. I'm thinking about the good English holding midfielders. I can't think of many at the top level.
No.
So he's probably going for his tried and tested there. But who do you actually like? He insists on playing a holding midfielder. I actually think we need to stop playing a midfield three and attack teams a little bit more.
Yeah,
you know, we don't need those two midfielders and one holding. You could have Rice and then Bellingham maybe. Or if you're going to play a three, it doesn't. You could, and you're going to play that holding. Hopefully, Rice doesn't get injured, but he ties so much of his tactics to that formation, having a defensive midfielder. And I get that for when you're playing the bigger sides. But if you took the training wheels off this England team, the amount of goals that's in it is incredible.
Do you remember the final against Italy when we just came out attacking, playing that typical like Premier League, really high-paced, high-intensity attack sort of formation that clearly I don't think Southgate wanted us to play actually, but the players themselves were really up for it, and that's what they were doing. And look,
after we scored, it
look
dropped.
how much, literally, look how much we dominated that game, and to go on and score, and then Southgate had a word with them all, and suddenly they just dropped back and just wanted to nick it 1-0. That seems to be the whole approach with England under Southgate. Oh, we'll just nick it 1-0. We'll score a goal, and then we'll sit back, and it's like that whole reason is just, it's wasted potential and wasted talent. And that's
Congrats
why
to our
just,
Scottish listeners, by the way, for qualifying for the Euros. Because I saw that happen.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. I know we've got quite a few Scottish listeners to the pod. Yeah. So, congratulations. But yes, club football is back, and we are all very happy for it. This weekend, Saturday the 21st of October, Sheffield Wednesday will be playing Watford away. And that is a bit of a trial by fire for Röhl. So, it'd be interesting to have seen Zisco play against Watford.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it? But they're currently going off the back of a draw and a loss, and another loss, and another loss. Watford aren't doing well. I talk about trial by fire because I'm not talking about the typical trial by fire there where you're playing a team that's better than you. We're playing a team that at this moment we need to beat because they are relegation fodder with us currently.
Yeah,
they have 10 points from 11 games. We are 7 points behind them because we are that far off. We are, like, looking at... I haven't read the table, right? Like we do the roundup and we read the table. I've not done that in quite some time, but I'm not reading at the top end like I was last season, where Leicester City sit with 30 points.
Oh.
Because we have 3.
It makes me really sad seeing Ipswich Town in second just flying high. Because that's what we should have been, because they effectively built their team properly, I feel. Like they built a championship team in League One.
They spent a lot of money.
And stuff. And but yeah.
And they did it right, So
they spent high, but they spent responsibly, even though it was high, They had a long-term investment sort of spending plan, and it's paying off, clearly. I say
I'll read you the bottom of the table because this is what...
Yeah.
This is what Röhl has to start with. So Sheffield Wednesday on 3 points. Above us, double our points. 23rd place is Rotherham with 6 points. Then QPR have got 8 points. Safety for Wednesday is currently 10 points. We are 7 points off safety, 10 games in. And that is Stoke City. But joint on 10 points, so 20th place, is Watford. Now, we picked up a point at Huddersfield, who are in 19th, and then Plymouth are one above them. So, next 2 games could be huge games already.
Yeah.
And Röhl has got a start in them. We have got Watford, followed by Plymouth. The Plymouth game, however, will be live on this channel for Dexterity Watch. So, and something will happen around the Rotherham game, which might be a Dexterity Watch or something bigger than that. We are still working out the logistics of that because there's quite a lot of content from us over the next couple of weeks, so we will sort that. But basically, Wednesday needs to sort it out and win these 2 fixtures. Now, you would give the new manager some room for error, I guess, but he kind of also, this is what I'm saying, he's not been given that luxury. He's been thrown in after Wednesday need these points, and they need the points from the teams like Watford and Plymouth that are down there with us.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the gap gets bigger.
Yep.
And then you look to where the points are going to come from.
I personally think every game is a must-win game now, because it's now getting down to the... when we were constantly saying, November is when we should judge sort of how we're going to do. Now is the crunch time now. This is when people are going to start predicting, as many already have, actually, about where teams are going to finish. And every single football content creator is still saying that we're going to finish rock bottom, even though we've just
I don't
signed.
think we'll finish bottom.
I don't think we're going to finish bottom. I actually don't think we're going to finish in the relegation spots now. I don't think we're getting relegated with this new manager coming in.
I don't know enough, but I would imagine that we've... The one thing I'm worried about is, do we lack enough quality up front to get ourselves out of it? Because we kind of got by on that last season when I say we weren't prolific, but Michael Smith scored a lot of goals. But it's one of those things that when you don't know where all the goals are going to come from, in this situation, we could have really done with someone who can bag them, and we ain't got it.
I mean, I think Michael Smith does have it, but he just hasn't been played because he didn't fit the Zisco type of striker that he wanted to play, you know?
But we also don't know if it's going to work under Röhl. That's the thing we've got now. We don't know if it's going to work in that situation. And that's the kind of worry when you look at it, really. We've got 2 fixtures that are pretty much must-win fixtures, and if we win both of those fixtures, we will be on 9 points, which is not enough to get us out of the relegation zone. So we could win both of those fixtures and still be in trouble. So that's why it's important that we start putting points on the board, because after that, guess what? It's another must-win because we're playing Rotherham.
Yeah,
Watford, Plymouth, Rotherham. They're all teams within 10 points of us. We need to win them.
We do.
And then it's Bristol City, then it's Millwall, and then it's Birmingham who are flying. Then we've got Leicester. So this is where the points start to dry up. Birmingham, Leicester. Yeah. And then we've got Blackburn, who are another team that we should be trying to beat at this situation, given their points. And then Stoke. Stoke are another team. So we've basically got 3 teams we have to beat. Then we've got about 4 matches where it could go either way, and we're probably going to lose quite a few of them. You would understand if we lost a couple of them, definitely. You don't understand if we lose them all. We've been awful, but you know what I mean. And then we've got 2 matches again that are must wins. But then we get into mid-December, and a lot can change by mid-December. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway. Let's move on to some community topics. So we haven't been ignoring these. We just haven't been utilising them as much as we possibly could have earlier.
That was very diplomatically put, Dex. Good job on that one. That was a good diplomatic way of phrasing that we've kept forgetting to check the tab.
The Discord's not been very active recently. We're not. So Maple Leaf writes in.
Yes.
We're going to save some of yours, but you've always got great ones. He goes, do you think Chansiri had a change of heart about putting money in, or do you think the manager changing coaching staff is where it ends? In other words, do you think there will be players arriving in January? Now, this is a good question. Do we think he's going to... He made that additional money comment, didn't he? Do we think he's going to actually inject money into the club in January, or do you think he's going to stick to his word and it's just going to be frees and loans?
It's a mixed bag because... you see, I also think a lot of that statement was made in a very... I think it was clearly very emotionally written. It was very much a knee-jerk emotional response. And I don't know whether or not he will follow up on that. Because he's led by his emotions a lot, I feel, is Chansiri. And I just think it all depends on how we are doing by that point. I think possibly if it looks like we're going down, in that situation, and nothing's really changed, I think possibly he'll either go, oh well, we just have to hope that it changes, or he will go for broke, or not go for broke, but spend this apparent 39 million that we allegedly could spend but aren't doing, that he is quoted to have said. In a Star article, I think it was, or a news article, he said we could spend 39 million if we wanted to, but we're trying to be more sustainable with how we run things, so we're not spending a penny. And maybe he might dip into that we could spend, or I don't know. I think we've just got to see, but I think definitely that statement.
Do you know what I think happens when he talks about this now? I think he will renege on that if Röhl starts putting it together. Yeah. So if we see between now and the end of December, if we see a bit of a transformation in this team, we see players fitting, but we don't quite have a cutting edge somewhere, I think he'll go, right, if you need that position, I'll back you. I do think that will be, because at the end of the day, Chansiri's talking about he's not going to do it while fans are saying this about him in the club. The best way to win over the fans is make sure we're doing all right. Yeah. You know? So it's a case of, you will always have the fans that will never go back on it. I'm struggling to see how eventually he doesn't need to sell this club now. We'll talk about that. That actually, there's going to be a Talking Wednesday extra soon, a little bit more about that. That we're gonna be talking about that. So, we didn't mention it at the start. Membership's available. Click join below for little breakouts like that and that sort of thing. Think of the old days of the podcast. I'm going to put a bit more of that into extra now. But
And if you're on the second tier, you can see my very funny video where I have rated the top 10 tin pot clubs, and I really want people to watch that because it's a really funny video, and I'm actually quite happy with it.
It's completely baity. So yes, do watch that on the second tier.
It's very funny. I was laughing watching it, to be honest, but I feel like that's really egotistical. Anyway,
back to Maypole. I love it. He actually bought a membership to the channel to watch himself. It's great.
Yes, I did.
Maple Leaf. To go back to your question, I think it will have been a statement in Hurt, and I think if he sees a positive sign under Röhl and he sees us making progress with the right signings, he'll probably do it.
Röhl's got to sell it to him. I think he's got to sell him the vision, and he's got to sell him he's got to give him effectively the business plan why you should spend this certain amount of money, because this is where we want to get, and this is the proof because of look at how we've turned this around. So
it's also a case he probably needs a bit of youth in there. He talks about playing this high intensity counter press, he needs players who are going to be able to run through a brick wall. So I think that's where you're going to find it, because if you can have that rejuvenation in January, I just think about that Leeds team that got run to absolute, the extremes under Bielsa. If you're going to have that level of sort of intensity, you're going to need the players that are all in. So
absolutely.
That's where he's going to need the support in January, and I would hope Chansiri would open up the purse strings a little bit there. But thank you for writing in on that, Maple Leaf. Andy writes in and says, since Jordan Rhodes has scored more goals than our club this season, should we consider a move in January?
Oh. Well, I mean, look, the fans wanted him last time, and look how it turned out. So, no. I mean,
I don't think he's any better than what we've got.
Look, it's a baity question, isn't it? It's a tongue-in-cheek question. Yeah. It's obvious. I mean, I don't think he's better than what we've got, personally. But
no, I don't. I think in League One he's no better than. He's probably that good level in League One, but he's basically a Michael Smith.
Oh yeah,
and I'd rather have Michael Smith.
Same, to be honest. Same.
Because I'll be honest, I think Jordan Rhodes, he comes across as a great character in that, and he seemed like a nice bloke and stuff while he was with us, and I wish it could have worked out different. However, he took so much money from this club, and so much of a bad investment went into him that it's always going to leave a bitter taste, that one for me.
We could have built an entire training complex with the money that we spent on Jordan Rhodes.
Yeah,
just think about that for a second.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
We could have bought land and built an entire complex like Leeds have done next to Elland Road for the same amount of money that one player cost back in the day. And the only reason we didn't do that is because a fan survey said that most people wanted money spending on players, not infrastructure. And Chansiri went with it to get fans on side. So...
in Chansiri, if you do come to ever sell in the club, just write off the Jordan Rhodes thing, right? Just write that off, because we didn't ask you to spend 10 odd million on him.
We didn't
ask that.
People only wanted him if he
Jordan
wasn't
Rhodes,
going
but we
to,
didn't want him that much.
Yeah. Oh,
much money.
10 million.
He was never worth it.
See, I think because it was Chansiri, who at the time didn't have really any knowledge about how transfers were properly supposed to work, I think that the Middlesbrough chairman took advantage of that and well upped the price and was like, yes, okay, fine, 10 million.
Yeah,
I think that's sort of what happened. Good old Mr. Gibson.
I reckon you could have got Rhodes for 4, but even in the height of it, I reckon you could have got him for 4 with maybe add-ons to 6.
He cost
definitely
more.
Like we paid.
It cost more to get Jordan Rhodes than it took to get Gary Hooper. Probably the greatest striker we've had since David Hirst. It cost more to get Jordan Rhodes than it did Gary Hooper.
Jesus Christ, how we fell. But yeah, no, Hooper just seemed to always be in the right place.
Favourite striker in living memory is Gary Hooper. Anyway.
I still think we got rid of him too early as well.
Yeah, I do. It was Joss, wasn't it?
And Fletcher's gone to Wrexham now.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Are you ready to see him in the documentary?
But yes, I think that's where I'm going to leave this week's episode of Talking Wednesday. Moving on from the actual Wednesday talk, though, have you played the new EAFC? Jack, I've not spoke to you about it.
Yes, it is. Because I'm a PC player of it, and the PC port of the game is about as well as you can imagine an EA PC port to be. It's playing just like Jedi Survivor, if any of you have played that.
Do you know the only mode I'm being able to play consistently at the minute is Ultimate Team. And
Ultimate
it's funny because Ultimate Team is the only thing that actually works, because career mode is bugged. The player career, I really like the ideas that they were doing with it, but it just feels like after you've gone through a season, it just feels weird. For example, you can set like target clubs and stuff, but teams can no longer buy you or anything like that. So it's a case of you have to...
You have to terminate your own contract, basically.
No, you can't. No. You basically have to reach some objectives to get another contract at your club. If you don't reach them, you don't get another contract. Everything is a 1-year rolling contract, basically. And it's a good way of doing it and being able to set target clubs and stuff. But the reason I used to like player career, it was ages ago in FIFA, is I would start for Wednesday. I'd turn myself into a great player, and then I would be sold for 100 million, and Wednesday would get 100 million, and then I'd retire, and Wednesday would still be a fairly rich club for me to do a couple of seasons with in a career, and I liked that, but there we go. That's we're gonna do a bit of Talking Wednesday extra stuff today, so yes. Make sure that you are a member at the second tier of the channel if you want that. We do make some things available to the first tier of membership, but first tier membership, but second tier membership is where all that stuff does tend to come in, and it would really help the channel, especially in these times, to keep the lights on with everything. That would be appreciated. But if you can't support us in any of those ways, even the first tier, second tier, third tier, any of those, if you can just subscribe and leave us reviews, all of those things. They help more than you know in terms of algorithms and keeping us going on that front. But have you got anything to add before we wrap up today, Jack?
Yes, I have actually. Ich bin nicht fließend, aber ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Willkommen bei Sheffield Wednesday, Danny Röhl. Wir hoffen, dass Sie Ihre Zeit hier genießen und viel Erfolg mitbringen. There you go. That's a little message to Danny Röhl if he at all listens to this podcast.
Did you say something then that I'm going to have to edit out, or was it okay?
No. It was literally, welcome to Sheffield Wednesday, Danny Röhl. We hope you enjoy your time here and bring much success.
I hope you're using a legit translator. Anyway, that's been it for episode 139 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
Cheers.